Hey, what's up? It's your boy Alex with the Inside Scoop. So you've purchased the BTMM EA and you're wondering, how to set it up and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to set it up. So first, when you get the folder, it'll have 3 folders within it when you unzip it. Okay, so first you need to unzip it. So you take the EA, so you copy that. And what you're going to do is go over here, File, Open Data Folder. And all you got to do MQL4 experts and paste it into the experts file. Okay, you got to paste it right there. Okay, so once you do that, you then go to the BTMM indicators. You copy all of them. Then you go here again, File, Open Data Folder. You go here, you go to indicators, and then you paste it here. Okay, then the last step, you go over to templates. You copy this template here. Okay. And then you go over to File, you go to Open Data Folder, you go to Templates, and then you paste it here. Okay, so then you have the template as well. All right. So what you're going to do is, let me just quickly show you how the EA works. Okay, so I'll just put on a template real quick here. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'll click play so that you can see in the strategy tester how it works. So first it's going to identify the peak and then it'll trade in line with that peak, right? So it has identified the peak. It's saying that, so if let me get rid of the strategy tester here for a second. It's saying that from here to here and the shift away here is the peak. Right, so it's saying that it has identified a peak formation low and it's looking for a W buy opportunity. Okay, so let me go ahead and run it. It's looking for a buy opportunity. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it. Okay, and boom, it has gotten into a buy opportunity. So what it does is it also puts back 2 backup orders just in case the price goes against you. Okay, so in case the price goes against you, it puts 2 backup orders, X pips apart. Right now by default is 20 pips apart. Okay, so from here to here 20 pips, from here to here 20 pips, and the overall is 60 pips for all 3 orders in case all 3 orders get triggered. Okay, this is what Steve Morrow calls training wheels. All right, so, and you can turn this feature off if you want to. I'll show you how to do that in a second. All right, so let's let it run. It goes boom, 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 boom. All right, so it's activated all 3 orders here. And boom, all 3 orders have limited up, right? So that's basically how the EA works. It enters in with 2 additional backup orders. First, it identifies the peak. Okay, but this fully automated only works for USD. For any other pair, you're going to need to click on or give it the direction. So you need to either look for the peak and give it the the direction to say, okay, there's a peak formation low, so look for buy opportunities, or there's a peak formation high, look for sell opportunities. So let me show you another example with a peak formation high. Okay, so price has gone up quite a bit. It has to pull off 1 times ADR. So it has already made 3 times ADR upward and has pulled off 1 times ADR to the downside. So if I was doing this like semi-automated, I would put peak formation high so that it looks for a sell. But your USD can be fully automated. So you can just put it as peak formation auto. All right, so it's entered into a cell here. It saw an M structure, so it entered into the cell, and along with 2 backup orders. Okay, so it's triggered a 3rd backup order. See, that's and this is why it's so important, for the backup order, right? Because price went up, and instead of taking you out, all it did was trigger your backup order. And it went in the direction that you knew that it was gonna go in. Look at that, and boom, all 3 of them have hit the take profit. Okay, So that's how the EA works. So let's talk about the settings now, okay? And I'll explain the settings to you, okay? All right, so number of same pair entries just basically means that, like, for example, if you have this running on, you know, multiple charts, and the EA enters a trade in, for example, EU, it's not gonna enter a trade in GU if you only have this to 1, because USD is part of both pairs, right? So number of same pair entries. But if it saw an order in an opportunity in AUDJPY, because it doesn't have USD in it, it could enter into it, right? So if you wanted to be able to enter into EU and GU, you could set this to 2, so then it can, you know, enter both. Okay. All right, so this is the backup orders, X pips limit order. So the 2 backup orders, if you don't want to use it, you just put this to 0 and you don't have to use it. Okay. Stop loss by fixed. There's another option, stop loss by bar. So fixed stop loss means that this one here, this is 60 pips and that's your stop loss. If you want it by bar, you could say, okay, set the stop loss this many pips above the previous 2 bars. Okay, so in this case, let's say right here, it would set it 20, in this case 20 pips above the previous 2. Let's say this was where the M is, it'll set it 20 pips above these 2 candles, whichever is the highest. Okay, and if you wanted, like, let's say 5 pips, which, you know, makes sense, then you just have to change this to, actually, sorry, this is 2 pips. It's not 20 pips, this is 2 pips, because this is in points. So if you wanted a 5 pips, then you just do like that, and this is 5 pips above the previous 2 candles. But this one is in pips. So this is in points and this is in pips. So this is 5 pips and this is 60 pips. Okay. All right. And then the risk you could do by percent, which I like to do. Percent of my account size. You could do by dollar amount, which is by money, and then you set the dollar amount, or you could do by fixed lot, which is this one, and you specify the lot size, but I like to keep it at percent, so 1%. And then take profit, you could do it by fixed, which is 100, this is 100 pips, or you could do it by risk to reward. So let's say if you're risking 20 pips for the whole trade, then risk to reward of 3 will aim for 60 pips take profit. Okay, so you could do either risk to reward, or you could do it by fix. So play around with these settings in the strategy tester or in a demo account so that you get familiarized with it. Use V-shape is basically determining the peak, where the peak direction is. That's what it is. And you can ignore this one, how many days back. Work on days just basically means that after the peak is identified, how many days do you want to trade in line with that peak, right? So day 1 after the peak, do you still want to look for, like, let's say if it was peak formation high, which is looking for M, day 1 after the peak, it'll look for an M. Day 2, it'll look for an M. Day 3, it'll look for an M. If you only wanted to look for an M only on day 1 after the peak, then you could set this to 1, and it'll only look on the first day after the peak for that opportunity to enter the trade. This you don't have to touch, you can leave these alone. This is just numbers to help identify the peak. Okay, and show ADR lines is basically the green and the blue line that it was showing to identify the peak. These ones you can leave alone, you don't have to touch that. Okay, you don't have to touch this. This one, if you wanted to, like, ignore trades after a certain time, you could then specify it here. Okay, so let's say, like, if you wanted to, like, stop looking for opportunities after, let's say, 4 p.m., you can specify it. But in my experience, these, you don't have to touch these times. These are the times that I've seen that work the best. But again, if you know what you're doing, you could play around with these times. Auto peak formation is the fully automated version. This only works with EUR/USD. For all other pairs, you need to identify the peak and select whether it's a low peak formation or whether it's a high peak formation. Low peak formation, it looks for W's, which is buy opportunities. High peak formation, it'll look for M, which is sell opportunities, and none means that it will not look for any trades. The maximum number of trades is, you know, how many trades can the EA enter into at one time, right? So if you have one, it'll enter into, and this includes the limit orders. So it'll enter into, you know, basically one trade plus the 2 limit orders. If you have 2, then, you know, it's 6 basically that it could enter in, right? So if it saw another opportunity at a different pair, then it could enter into it if you have max trades as 2. Risk in martingale. If you wanted to use martingale, you could set this to true and you could use martingale. If you don't know what martingale is, then don't worry about this setting, okay? Close trade after X pips. As Steve Morrow says, if the trade hasn't moved in your favor in 2 hours, you could choose to close the trade. I leave it as false because I just find I do better when it's false. X pips above below the structure. So here it's pretty much, this is already covered here by bar if you wanted to use by bar. So this one you don't have to, you can ignore this, and it's already false, so you can just ignore it. Actually, this is false. Yeah, you can ignore that. Magic number you can leave alone, or you can, you know, change it to whatever you want. That's fine. And then here, move take profit basically means that when price is, let's say, 5 pips within your take profit, it moves the take profit up by 10 pips. It's just an opportunity to make more money, but I just leave it off. I don't really use this one. Trailing stop, you can use trailing stop if you know what it is, but you know, if you don't, then you have to, you know, Google that. Break even, again, is self-explanatory. If price is 44 pips in your favor, it moves the stop loss to 17 pips, or 1 pip break even, whatever you want to use. MA period, you can leave this alone as well. You don't have to touch that. This just means it enters on the mustard confirmation. 13 would mean that it would enter on the ketchup confirmation. I just leave it as the mustard, which is the which is the yellow, the 5 exponential moving average. So you can leave that alone. You don't have to touch that. So that's pretty much it. That's how you use the EA. Typically you have it running on the chart, and all you do is let's say let's say this is a different pair, it's not Euro USD. Once you have identified the peak formation, let's say you have a peak right here, right, this whole structure here, peak formation, then you basically set the EA to peak formation high, so that when, you know, it does see this sell opportunity, it will enter in. If you see a peak formation low, then you just click here, PF low, and it'll look for buy opportunities the next day in London session. Well, I shouldn't say the next day, but in London session and New York, it'll look for buy opportunities. So that's basically how it works. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, bye.